Hi children, we continue with the third chapter, Fiber to Fabric. Today's class we will see about some plant fibers. How to get some plant fibers. Actually this year we will learn only about plant fibers. Next year 7th standard you will learn about animal fibers, and in 8th standard you will learn about synthetic fibers. First is cotton. How do we get cotton fibers? Very important. How do we get cotton fibers from cotton plant? Cotton is obtained from cotton plant. Okay. Now cotton plants are grown in places having black soil and warm climate. Cotton plants are grown in places having black soil and warm climate. Now fruits of the cotton plant, we call the fruits of cotton plant. Actually the fibers are obtained from the fruit of the cotton plant. We call the cotton fruits as cotton bolls, B-O-L-L. Okay. So the fruits of the cotton plant are called cotton bolls. They are about the size of a lemon. They are about the size of a lemon. Once they are matured or fully grown, they burst open. They open themselves. We need not open it. They burst open themselves. And inside these cotton balls, we can see fibers, seeds covered with fibers. Inside the burst cotton balls, we can see the seeds covered with fibers. Okay. Now from these balls, the fibers can be separated by hand. Fibers you can separate with your hand. But the seeds, we need only the fibers. Seeds are to be removed. That is done by combing, using a comb-like instrument. There is figure 3.7 you can refer. Using a comb-like instrument, by combing, the seeds are removed from the cotton fibers. This process is known as ginning of cotton. This is called ginning of cotton. Traditionally ginning was done with hand, but nowadays machines are available for this process. So that is how we get cotton fibers from cotton plant. So cotton is obtained from cotton plant. Cotton plants are grown in places having black soil and warm climate. And cotton is usually obtained from the fruits of the cotton plant. We call the fruits of cotton plant as cotton bolls. They are about the size of a lemon. So once matured, they burst open, and inside that you can see the seeds covered with fibers. Seeds covered with fibers can be seen. And from these balls, the fibers can be separated using our hands. Now the seeds are to be removed. That is done with an instrument, comb-like instrument. We call it as combing, and this process is known as ginning of cotton. This process is called ginning of cotton. Traditionally ginning was done with hand, but nowadays machines are available for it. So this is an important question. How do we get cotton fibers from cotton plant? I hope it is clear to you. Cotton plants are grown in places having black soil and warm climate. The fruits of cotton plant, the cotton bolls, B-O-L-L, bolls, are about the size of a lemon. Once they are matured, they burst open. Inside the balls we can see seeds covered with fibers. Now they can be separated with hand. The fibers can be separated with hand, and the seeds are removed by combing. This is called ginning of cotton. Traditionally it was done with hand. Nowadays machines are available for it. So that is how we get cotton fibers from cotton plant. Now let us see how we get jute. The next plant fiber is jute. How do we get jute fibers from jute plant? So jute fiber is obtained from the stem of jute plant. Cotton is obtained from the fruit. Here it is obtained from stem of jute plant. Jute fibers are obtained from the stems of jute plants. Okay, so they are cultivated in rainy season. Cultivation is in rainy season. And it is harvested. Harvesting is done when the plant is in its flowering stage. Flowering stage we do the harvesting. Okay, so jute fibers are obtained from the stem of jute plants. It is cultivated during rainy season, and harvesting is done when the plant is at the flowering stage. Harvesting is done when the plant is at the flowering stage. Now the harvested stems are immersed in water. Harvested stems are immersed, kept completely covered in water. Immersed in water. harvested stems are immersed in water for few days. Then what happens is the stems rot and you get the fibers. Okay, so the harvested stems are immersed, completely submerged in water for a few days. Then the stems rot and fibers are separated by hand. So that's how you get jute fibers. How do we get jute fibers from jute plant? Jute fibers are obtained from the stem of jute plant. It is cultivated in rainy season and the harvesting is done when the plant is at the flowering stage. Then the harvested stems are immersed in water for a few days. Then the stems rot and the fibers can be separated by hand. So that's how we get jute fibers from jute plant. So two important questions: how do we get cotton fibers from cotton plant? How do we get jute fibers from jute plant? Now we got fibers. We got cotton fibers and jute fibers. Fibers are obtained. What is the next step? Fibers are to be converted into yarn, isn't it? This is the second step. Then yarn to fabric. Now we will see how these fibers are converted to yarn. The process used for making yarn from fiber, it is known as spinning. The process of making yarn from fibers is known as spinning. Important. What is spinning? The process of making yarn from fibers is known as spinning. In this process, fibers from a mass of cotton wool are drawn out and it is twisted. Fibers from a mass of cotton wool are drawn out and twisted. This brings the fibers together and yarns are formed. This brings the fibers together to form the yarn. So that is spinning. Spinning is the process of making yarn from fibers. So we saw how we get cotton fibers and jute fibers. Next step is to convert the fibers to yarn. So the process of making yarn from fibers is known as spinning. In this process, fibers from a mass of cotton wool are drawn out and twisted. This brings the fibers together to form a yarn. Okay, a traditionally used device for making yarn is a hand spindle or tuckly. It is also known as tuckly. So there are two hand operated devices used for making yarn. Two hand operated devices used for making yarn, or two hand operated devices used for spinning is, one is hand spindle known as tuckly and the other one, figures of both these are given in your textbook. Other one is charkha. Charkha you may know, it is not chakra, it is charkha. The use of charkha was popularized by Mahatma Gandhi during the independence movement. He encouraged people to wear clothes made up of homespun yarn instead of the imported clothes made in the mills of Britain. So the use of charkha, you might have seen, the charkha you might have seen, the picture of charkha you might have seen. So use of charkha was popularized by Mahatma Gandhi during the independence movement. Okay, so what is spinning? What are the two devices used for spinning? So what is spinning? The process of making yarn from fibers is known as spinning. In this process, fibers from a mass of cotton wool are drawn out and twisted. This brings the fibers together to make a yarn. Okay. Now two hand operated devices used for spinning are, one is hand spindle known as tuckly and the other one is charkha. Figures of both these are given in the textbook. The use of charkha was popularized by Mahatma Gandhi during the independence movement. And spinning on a large scale is done with the help of machines. These are hand operated devices. On a large scale, spinning is done using spinning machines. Okay. So that's all. Thank you, children.